Welcome to No Stats, where we call it how we see it.
Back again with another one.
Yes, sir. Back again. And before we jump into today's topic, just want to remind our viewers to like, share, subscribe. Me and Peach going to keep giving you that heat, that content, back to back. So make sure y'all do that.
Again and again and again, baby.
Watch the handle, it takes skill. We gotta run it back. We in the field, and you said it Jason Jack. You in your field, we looking for the facts. Let's keep it real, yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats.
Yes, sir. What you got for me today, brother?
Oh man, it's we're officially in the NBA off season, so gotta pick our topics as we pick our topics while we pick our topics. The news dropped what we all been waiting for Ja Morant to see, how many games he would get suspended. NBA came up with 25 games. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was a little surprised, and then as I let the thought marinate a little bit, I kind of did understand why it was just 25 games. I was expecting maybe in the 40 range. I don't know. How about you, bro? How many games you may have thought?
I was expecting half the season as well. But like you said, so you got to add into the fact that he technically didn't do anything wrong, right? It's the image and the reputation that he's kind of damaging of himself and of the NBA. When you're a part of an organization, any organization for that matter, but as big as the NBA or the NFL, you're a representation of them, right? So everything that you do is under a microscope and under a spotlight, and they will need to make some type of example out of you, or it's going to become a trend. So the 25 games, I think, is the easier part, but the fact that he's going to be losing out on almost $50 million is the part that's going to hurt. You want to hurt somebody, you touch their pockets. And I think that's what the NBA did here. And I know we're going to get into it, but hopefully this is a wake-up call, right? Because we went through this before, bro. Like, for those who maybe this is their first time watching, when the first incident with Ja Morant came out, me and Peach was like, do we do a show and do we talk about it? And we were like, you know what?
We're going to give young his black ass a pass.
Yeah, we give him a pass. Players mess up. We understand, we understand the culture. We understand the young man. He's young, came across all this money. Give a man to grow a little bit. Give a boy a chance to grow. He's still, like you say, he's still young, getting to the NBA. But then the second time, it's like that fool me once, fool me twice thing. So we was like, all right, now you're digging your hole a little deeper. So we're gonna talk about it. And we didn't kill him by any means. We just was saying that it was a bad decision. We stated the obvious, and that he needed to move a little better. But now he issued a statement saying that he needs to be a better person, and he hoped that people will ride with him throughout this journey as he becomes a better man. But nobody's going to believe it now until you do it. Now you're in this situation where your word doesn't mean as much, because you get one chance, right? You can mess up, but then you come out and you say, I'm going to change, and then you break your word. Now people don't, treasure your word.
People can't trust it. You don't hold that much weight now.
Exactly.
And I think he'll have a lot to prove coming back. I'm interested to see. I want to ask you, with Ja going these 25 games, does this Grizzly team pretty much scrap this upcoming season, without having their superstar? Do you think they could stay afloat enough to, get Ja back, maybe win 13 out of those 25 games, you get Ja Morant back and maybe make that final push for those last, I think it'll be like 50-something games.
So I think it's capable. I think a big part of that depends on how the schedule plays out, of course. Like, if their schedule is front-loaded, that'd be tough. They could stay afloat. Now, it depends on what you mean by afloat. If, like you said 13 and 12. It depends on how the rest of the West is doing, right? Because you got the Nuggets, you got the Kings, who we expect to be better. We got Golden State, you got Phoenix, you got the Lakers, you got Dallas, who we expect to be better.
Clippers.
The Clippers, right? So if all of these teams are getting off to a fast start, I think you can stay within the race, because Memphis played without Ja a little bit last year, so it's not new to them. And we spoke on Tyus Jones a little bit in a couple other videos, but he does a really good job, filling in for Ja while he's out. So I don't think they'll struggle mightily. I don't see them getting under 10 wins. And I think even 10 wins, like if you go 10 or 11 wins, you go 11 and 14, I think they could still, especially with your playing
the plan on your side. We might get 10.
Playing for 10th seed nowadays.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy times that we're in, man. I think the Grizzlies can reel off 11 to 12 games. Like you said, this was a team that still was able to win majority of their games with Ja at the lineup. I'm also interested to see how Ja comes back and implements himself within the team. What type of he should be playing with that chip on his shoulder to get back right in the public's eye, in the league's eye, show them that, I'm here to play basketball, I'm here to be a role model, here to be a mentor. And, hopefully this is his last fiasco, doing this type of bullshit. So,
yeah, no, I agree. And that's why I said, when you touch somebody's pockets, it means a lot. And he's becoming the center of attention, right? The reason Adam Silver elected to bring out this announcement after the finals, because he knew everything was going to be about Ja. Because you have this young guy who has all the talent in the world. You know what I mean? And he's just making decisions that could lead him down a path that you just don't want to, go down. Mm-hmm. Some of these things aren't really games. They seem fun. We hear it in the music, and you don't want to, especially you're making millions of dollars, right? And you got kids looking up to you. Why even walk down that path?
Not at all, man. I want to ask you too, bro. I seen this pop up. So Nike elected to, not, cut ties with Ja Morant or anything like that. And I understand with Ja being, younger, more marketable, at the time of the incidents. How does this compare to the situation that went around Nike releasing Kyrie and cutting ties with Kyrie Irving? How do those situations compare, and what's your take on it?
Wow, that's a great question. I think you have a younger star who, it's all about that green piece of paper, number one, right? Like you said, like who you can market, who's in their prime, who can be the face of the league. Like I feel like when Kyrie was going through these things, Kyrie's a phenomenal talent, right? But even in Cleveland, he wasn't the star. In Boston, that didn't work out. In Brooklyn, he wasn't the star. In Dallas, he's not the star. The number one guy, I'll say. And I also think there's more risk with Kyrie than there is Ja Morant, right? Ja Morant and these gun things, these gun issues or fake guns, whatever the case may be. I think you can kind of rebound from that. They look at it, their risk management department is like, okay, he did this with the gun. He's a young guy. We can get through this and move past it. It's an incident more than a mindset. Kyrie's is more of a mindset. Kyrie is strong on his beliefs. He's spoken about how he feels. And I don't think Nike wants to be too close to that. You know what I mean? So I think it's incident versus mindset. I think Ja is going through these incidents. He's a young kid, and Nike hopes that he'll get back on the path. And I think Nike will help it to protect their bottom line when Kyrie is kind of cemented in his own ways. What's your thoughts? What do you think the difference is?
First of all, I can say, I absolutely agree with you, bro. Phenomenal breakdown. My take on it, though, is I think that because of the things that, with Kyrie, with his lack of leadership, the way he forced his way out of Cleveland, the things that transpired in Boston, coming to Brooklyn, being hurt, and then taking that time off to find himself, I think that kind of overshadowed what his true beliefs are, and it was hard for the league and Nike to accept Kyrie for what he strongly believed in. I don't think that Nike should have, went about how they went about it with Kyrie, just from him standing on what he stood on. But for them to kind of brush Ja thing under the rug, kind of not really speak too much on. I felt like there was more on Kyrie than there was on Ja. And I can't really articulate the real differences.
I can tell you why, bro. And and not to cut you off, but I don't want to get super political or philosophical. But what Ja did is more accepting the masses that be. Is in our music. That's fine, right? You can put it in the music. You can encourage, a lot of people listen to music and they're going to follow their favorite artists and things. That's fine. But when you go against the norm and you have a following and you can persuade people to think a certain way and have a mind for their own, and kind of investigate and question everything. That's kind of what Kyrie's built around right now. Question everything that that you hear, that you say. Do your own discovery.
What you was accustomed to growing up for a while.
Right. Dig deep into your roots. Have your own mind. That's a little more dangerous than a gun. And I think the world looks at it that way. Especially the NBA and these higher organizations. You got a lot of people following you, so that's my take on it. I think Kyrie's incident in some people's minds is more dangerous than Ja's, unfortunately.